The Swedes escape Italy in the opening game for them. Jeremy and Joe talking the tournament. It's underway. Day 2 here. Timo Meier has just scored, and the Swiss lead the French 4-0 now with just a few minutes left in this game. We'll go to the Western Hotline. Steven Ellis of Daily Faceoff joining us here to chat about the Olympic hockey tournament, which gets going full force today. We had a couple games yesterday, one going on right now, but Team Canada and Team USA both hit the ice later today. Steven, good morning. Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning. How are you doing?
We're all right. How are you feeling about best on best for the first time at this stage in quite a while? I mean, it's underway, but of course, like the biggest teams, Sweden played, but the U.S. and Canada rolling out today. We'll be going full force pretty soon.
I really liked the 2018 Olympics, the first one without NHL players. I think most people kind of looked at that and said, okay, game times, 2 a.m., 5 a.m., why should I care without NHL players? But I think if you watch that tournament, that was one of the most unpredictable hockey events where like USA lost to Slovenia and things like that. Like it was so much fun, great hockey. 2022, not so much. That one was one where all the teams kind of got put together at the last minute because the NHL backed out in December. But seeing day one of this tournament where Italy almost pulled off that massive upset, and we saw Slovakia, sure, they won a bronze in 2022, but that was without NHLers. They didn't have a ton of NHL players yesterday, and they went out and beat Finland that had, 19 of them in their lineup. So I think overall it's been a really good start to this tournament. Switzerland's kind of had the first real blowout of this tournament, and even then, Finland or France was giving them a run for their money. So I'm really excited to see how the rest of this tournament starts to play on.
Yeah, day one could have been 2 blowouts, and you didn't get that. I mean, Damian Clara did a lot of the heavy lifting on that, the goalie for Italy. I feel like, that's the other thing that sometimes you get at the Olympics, Steven, is a guy that not a lot of people know about becoming more, at least, of a household name.
Yeah, and with Damian Clara, this is a guy that was so good at a young age, 6'6", I think when he was like already 14 or 15, and we saw him play some outstanding hockey for Italy in various different tournaments. So he was not guaranteed to be the number one heading into this tournament. Davide Fadani, who we saw finish the game against Sweden, was their starting goalie at the World Championship Division 1A tournament last year that ended up getting Italy to the top World Championship tournament heading into May this year. So seeing a guy like that, 21 years old, and Damian Clara play the game he did was awesome. And Italy has relied on their goaltending at so many different levels to get them far. They've actually, it feels like goaltending is always usually a strength for them, and I tweeted that before the game. As I said, like if Italy's going to put up a fight, it's going to be because of their goaltending. And the way that Clara played yesterday, we do expect him to play against Slovakia. That could be a very interesting game because Samuel Lavi was also outstanding yesterday, the Minnesota Wild prospect. So you love seeing these fun goalie performances. Looks like, I don't want to use the S word right now, but Leonardo Giannoni, one of the best goalies to never play in the NHL, at least of his time, has been very good in this game against France, and it's been fun to see these guys that no one expects to be star goalies making it happen.
On goaltending, as we get to Team USA a little bit here with you, Steven, they're going with Connor Hellebuyck today. And kind of the goalie decisions for both the U.S. and Canada, how you view both of them. The U.S., it's viewed as a strength, and maybe they can't really do a lot wrong picking any of the three, whereas Canada, I don't know, like there's nervous energy, I'm sure, with a lot of their fans because Binnington has showed up in big games, but he's not had a good season in the NHL.
Yeah, I think the fact that Binnington has shown repeatedly that he can play in big moments, because it wasn't just the Four Nations face-off, it was also that World Championship last year where he was really, really good, one of the better goalies in that tournament. And that's why I look at this and say, yeah, okay, goaltending is probably Canada's weakest point, but you're still talking about 3 goalies that have proven that they can rise to the occasion in big moments. Logan Thompson has been good in previous World Championship performances. Darcy Kemper's won a Stanley Cup, and he won a World Championship. He's looking for triple gold. But I think with Binnington going out and doing everything that he's been able to do, I'm not too worried about him. So it's one thing to not be great on a terrible team like the St. Louis Blues, but it's another thing when you've got Cale Makar, Devontae, everyone in front of you. You got Sidney Crosby, Connor McDavid. I don't think it's as big of a deal as some people are making it out to be, especially when you're looking at it. And Canada is the favorite in every group stage game they have, so I think they should be fine.
I know you mentioned the last time we did this, it was kind of unpredictable. Do you feel like the group stage is I mean, I know it is kind of prelims by design, but there seems to be a little bit of a lack of a really big title fight tilt in the prelims. Maybe this is like the Four Nations speaking, where we saw the U.S. play Canada, and then, of course, they had to meet later on. Like the U.S. slate in the prelims, Latvia, Denmark, Germany, there could be some underdog stories there, but it kind of feels like foregone conclusion might be strong, and maybe, I'll be out here to watch a team let us down. But it really feels like it's a 3-team tournament, and those 3 teams got split up.
I will say that the good thing about this tournament is it's probably the most competitive we've ever seen in terms of having NHL players there. And part of that is because you look in Group C, USA, it's probably going to take something major for them to not win that group. But Germany, Latvia, and Denmark are bringing their best Olympic teams they've ever brought by a mile. Then you look at Switzerland, Czechia. Czechia just won the World Championship in 2024. Switzerland's won. They've got the silver the last 2 years. And if they had their full team, if they had Roman Josi, if they had Nico Hischier, they might have been able to beat the Americans for gold. It was a 1-0 game, and Giannoni, the Swiss goalie, was outstanding in that. So I think it's something where you can't take any of these teams lightly. And I think Sweden learned that against Italy yesterday, a group that had a lot to prove. But I'd say overall, the bottom teams are better than usual. That being said, it does feel like it's going to be a bit surprising if it's not one of Canada, Sweden, or USA that wins the gold medal here.
How do you feel about Tage Thompson going into this? He was not at the Four Nations, but he was at the World Championships and scored that golden goal. And it kind of looks like, Steven, they might give him a real shot. I mean, he wasn't just playing on a skilled line. He was on the number 1 power play unit yesterday, so I don't know if that holds. But Sabre fans are obviously hoping that he kind of has a breakout on the world stage here.
Yeah, 100%. And I think I'm not saying it just because of the audience here being Sabres fans, but realistically, I do expect him to be a big part of this team, and he should have been on that Four Nations face-off team. We saw the numbers before that tournament roster was announced, and he should have been there. So I think with him, watching him at the World Championship really cement himself where, like, no matter kind of what happened this season, it felt like he was going to make the World Championship team because he was such a big part of that group. Obviously, the game-winning goal and everything he did there, but that size, that skill, everything he brings. So many people are talking about Canada and all of the tougher players they're going to have in their depth chart. But if it gets to a gold medal game, I know Tage Thompson's not going to go out there and just start knocking people down. He's not Tom Wilson, but he can handle himself physically clearly. So I do think he's going to be a big part of this team. You can look back at that 96 U.S. team and try to compare which team is the best one of them between these two. But I think offensively, at least, this group is the one that's got the most going for it right now, where you can leave someone like Cole Caulfield off the team and still feel very excited.
Steven Ellis joining us. Steven, one more thing. Like we're over here waiting for these international games to play, and it's a nice distraction. We're also waiting for the Sabres to return because we're having a fun season. So, like, as you look at the landscape of the East and, in this little hiatus here, are they going to make it? Like, are they going to get the job done? Like, that's what we find ourselves asking every day over here. Like, they're in a really good spot. It's been an incredible run, and making the playoffs would be a very big deal around here.
Absolutely. This is a fan base that it's been so long. I think everyone in hockey kind of seems to want the Sabres to go far. And I feel like the way that this Eastern Conference has gone, you look at the Toronto Maple Leafs, for example, a team that can get hot at moments and then fall apart. You look at the Bruins, kind of the same thing. The Blue Jackets are one of the hottest teams. They're outside a playoff run. I think right now, I feel confident about Buffalo going to the playoffs. I think it's one where just everything's kind of clicking for them right now. And Rasmus Dahlin is, like, I think the average hockey fan doesn't give him enough credit for being one of the best defensemen in the NHL. And already we saw him yesterday for Sweden. Like, if he was out of that lineup, things could have been much, much different. He was that important for the Swedes. He had 3 points, but just defensively he was great. He was driving that offensive play. He was getting everything done. So I do feel confident about this Sabres team. I'm liking where they're at, and it should be a fun spring. I don't want to jinx it, but it should be a fun spring.
That's how we feel. Don't want to jinx it. We're feeling, I think, somewhat confident, as confident as you can be in the midst of a drought this long. Steven, thanks. Enjoy the rest of the games.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Steven Ellis of Daily Faceoff on Team USA, Team Canada, and a little on the Sabres there as well. 803-0550, 1-888-550-2550. 4-0 Switzerland. Finland, Canada, women's game is up and running on our TV. So all right, hockey.